Hello everyone and welcome to my coloring corner. Today is Collection Mania Monday and we have a wonderful set of pencils here. Of course this is, I hate it when it does that. Go away. I had to restart my computer so things are just popping up everywhere. It's driving me crazy. So this is a mixed media set. It's a 150 set of pencils, watercolor pencils, drawing pencils, and that sort of thing. It is done by Thornton's Art Supply. I've got dust on it from my dirty little fingers. And let's see if I can open it without hitting the camera. And we have, of course, the regular pencils here. These are just normal colored pencils. And then normal colored pencils here. Our metallics are at the end here. And then we've got a couple of neons as well. And then we go into the watercolors here. The watercolor have a gold band at the bottom of the pencil and are a hexagonal pencil, where the regular colored pencils are round. These three here that have the red base are your charcoal pencils. There's a soft, medium, and a hard. And then these ones here with the black, these are all triangular as well. These are round, these are triangular, and these are hexagonal. So you can definitely tell when you pull one out that you have the wrong pencil. But these ones here from that have the black base with the silver band are all drawing pencils. So it has a really good set of sketch pencils if you draw. I don't draw, so I haven't even sharpened those. So yeah, I just don't draw. But today we're going to use the regular pencils. We're going to take a look at the swatch chart for them, and I will be re-swatching them soon on my swatch charts. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. I haven't made it this far. I'm going to stitch onto the close-up camera here. So as you can see, the yellows are quite nice. There's a very nice ivory yellow. They are named and numbered, so I'm going to pull one out. See if I can pull a dark one out so you can see it fairly well. So as you can see, this is a dark green. So it has the Thornton's logo, dark green, and then the color number. So they are named and numbered throughout the set. So those are the regular pencils. Even the watercolor pencils. Oh, no, the watercolor pencils are not named. So those are definitely ones that you would have to put the numbers on or keep them in order in the pack. So I thought they had names on them for some reason. It just says water soluble and Thornton's. So those are not named and numbered. However, the regular colored pencils are. So we have a really wide selection of yellows into tans and light browns. And then we have some oranges. And it's got a pretty good selection of orange. You know, it also has some peaches and pinks and light peaches here, which are a part of the orange family. And then we go into our reds, and surprisingly, for a smaller set of pencils, it does have a good selection of reds. This one here, as you can see, I have done a water test on, and they do run a little bit with water, so be careful with that. And then we go into our pinks, and it has a really, really large selection of pinks. This is a really deep pink, and I think it should be above the rhodamine red, because that's more of a red or a pink than this. but it has a really good selection of pinks, a really good selection of the peach tones and the light skin tones. It also has a pretty good selection of greens. Not as many light greens as I would like to see, but it does have a good selection of different green levels of green as well. One thing I was impressed with this set is the amount of light blues and aqua colors. It does have four different, this says dark green, but it has the aquamarine, the permanent green, the light green, and in the blues it has the peacock blue and the kingfisher blue, which are really good dark watercolors to go with the lighter green watercolors. So it has a really good selection all the way around of different things that you can use for your waters and that sort of thing. And then we go into our royal blue, our dahlia purple, and violets, and then our purple, blue violet, light violet, orchid, mulberry. Mulberry I would have put with the pinks as well. And, like I said, I haven't had a lot of time to redo the swatch chart, and I will, when I redo the swatch chart, I will be moving a few things around. Of course, we've got our terracotta colors, and then we go into our browns. It has a very good selection of grays. So we've got a French gray, a dark gray, our black, our white, silver, dark silver, and then we go into our metallics. And it has a really, really large selection of metallics. We've got our blue green, and I don't know why I didn't put the rest of those names on there. Maybe because they're not, let's see, is the metallics. Okay, so the metallics are triangular and do not have their name or number on them. They just show as a metallic pencil. So that's why they're not listed as the color name. So we've got some greens into some blues, different metallic purples and pinks, as well as some brown metallics and red metallics, and then into our gold metallics. This blue metallic should be up there. And then of course we've got our fluorescents, our pink, orange, yellow, and green in the fluorescents. So for the set, there's quite a few pencils in it that are really good usable pencils for the regular pencils. Now for our watercolor pencils, we have, of course, whites, yellows, into the peach tones and oranges, into the reds, the red violets into the violets, and the light purples into the pinks, and then into our blues, and our blue greens into our greens. This set is much smaller, and it does not have as many greens and blues, and reds and whatnot that the other set has. And then we go into our darker greens into our browns, our brown greens into our brown reds, into our grays and blacks. Now this set does have a much wider range of gray than the other set. And those are gel pens. Which of course, because my husband bought me the Thornton's colored pencil set, he decided that I also needed the gel pen set. So what we will be doing today, of course, is another hug. So we will be coloring in this 100 Hugs coloring book. Well, it's not a coloring book. It's a book by Chris Riddell, the 100 Hugs, and we will be working on hug number 46 today, which is these griffins. It's a griffin to hug. All right, and I'm going to move the camera here. Actually zoom that out a little bit, because I think it's zoomed in too far. Yes, it is. It is zoomed in all the way. So we'll be doing the griffin hug, and we will be using the regular colored pencils on it, not the watercolor or, that sort of thing. So let's grab our swatch sheet, make sure that we have the right swatch sheet out, and yeah, we'll get started. So we're going to start with the yellow ochre, which is number 342, yellow ochre. And like I said, you can definitely see that these pencils have their names and numbers on them. I haven't sharpened these since I got them, so I may need to resharpen them because they have been sitting for a while. Now this set has gone up a lot since my husband bought it for me. Um, so, if you don't have a use for the mixed media type of pencils, such as the watercolor pencils, the drawing pencils, that sort of thing, the great thing about this set is it does come with the case. So they are all contained in one spot. You don't have to worry about, buying a new case for it or anything else. They are all contained in that case. Um, but if you just want to save, just want colored pencils, they do have a 50 set of just the colored pencils. So you don't have to buy um, the entire case just to get the colored pencils. I wanted to try the watercolor pencils and all the other mediums, and my youngest son draws, so um, when he wants them or needs them, he can have the drawing pencils. But I wanted to try the charcoal pencils and that sort of thing. So I'm just putting down a base layer of this yellow ochre, yellow ochre, ochre, yellow ochre. I don't know why I keep on calling it ochre. It's ochre. Maybe because it reminds me of okra. I don't know. So I'm just putting down this base layer, and then we will move on from that base layer and add our shadows and that sort of thing. I wasn't sure how these pencils were going to react to the paper, so I want to start with my light colors first and get that layer on there and then work up from it and build up from it if it's possible. And sometimes that's what you just got to do with, especially with a paper that you're not sure of, is just find your starting point, your base coat, and then work up from there. Now I'm not trying to put in any definitions here. I'm just trying to get the base colors down. All right. Same with on the wings. Make sure that you have your paper behind your picture so that when you do start putting a more pressure on the page itself, you're not going to transfer the color from the page behind it onto your other pages, and so that your deep color, your black lines from the ink don't transfer onto the other page either. Because it will. I know this from experience. I have to erase constantly because I forget. And even with putting a piece of paper behind there, you can still end up with a bit of transference onto an uncolored page. So make sure that you do have your eraser handy to remove any sort of transference. It won't be very heavy, and it is easily erased. So it's just because this paper is not meant to be colored, but we're going to color it anyway. All right, so there's the base coat on the first one. and the pencils seem to be basing very nicely. They're, like I said, I'm just doing a very light layer, but they are covering quite nicely. And I could have done these different colors, and I will do their top coats different colors, but for their base coat I'm just going to keep it the natural color of the lion that they're supposed to be. Griffin is a mixture between, supposed to be a mixture between a lion and a eagle. All right, so we're going to do the wings, get into his tail there. And like I said, I'm just shading. I'm not putting a heavy pressure with this pencil or anything else. It's just laying down that basic starting color. We'll get all fancy dancy with pressure later. All right. Now, if like I was saying before, if as a in an economic sense, if you decide that you like the look of these pencils and want to take a look at them closer, like I said, they do have the pencils just them by themselves available on Amazon, as well as this whole set. And it is definitely cheaper to buy just the pencils themselves, but they do not come with the case. They come in a cardboard box. So you have to choose your price point and what you would want with that price point, because these are a lot more expensive than they used to be. And they're a good artist grade set. They're just if you're not into the different mixed medias that come in it, it could be a little wasteful to get the whole set, unless you get it as a gift like I did, and then you just use what you got to use and what you want to use and move on. All right, so there is our base coat done with the yellow ochre. Now we're going to go into a little bit more of a red tone on this first one here. So we're going to use coffee. So this is number 471. It's coffee. And we're just going to put in a little bit. We're not going to get too hard yet because I still need to put in a darker color on top. So just adding that little bit of red tone. And it's not a deep red, it's a brown red. Not quite the color of coffee I would expect, but to me coffee is really dark brown, so but it could be the color of coffee beans, I don't know. So just putting in a little tiny bit more pressure just to get that color level that I wanted it at. And of course you can always add, so if you don't feel that the color is high enough, you just go over it a few times and add that color. I have colored with these in a regular coloring book and they do very nicely. And even in this one, I'm not finding a lot of pencils that just don't work in this book. It's just learning how to finesse the pencil to make it work in the book. So That's the thing with colored pencils is you can use pretty much any colored pencil you want, pretty much anywhere. It's just learning how to use that paper with the colored pencils. You already know how to use the colored pencils, but the paper can be a little bit daunting on whether or not it's going to accept the pencil, whether or not you can do a heavy hand on it, or whether or not you have to do light, little tiny, gradual progressions of color. Alright, so now we're going to go into his hair on his tail here. And here and here. And then underneath as well. Just adding a little bit of that red brown to the shadowy type area. And then we're going to go back up here and fill in this shadow area. Okay. Now, and as you can see, it holds a point quite nicely. I'm not pressing really hard on it, but it is holding the point very, very nicely. I'm going to go a little bit heavier in here around his beak. And up here into his ears. Get those shadows. Alright, now we're going to put that one aside for now, and then we're going to get a darker brown. And I think we're going to go with sienna. Let's just check and make sure that is the right one. No, sienna is a little too red, so we're going to go with chocolate instead. Now chocolate I do have to sharpen. So you're going to go for a bit of a wiggle. Not a whole lot, just a little bit. A little bit of wiggle it. Alright, so then we're just going to take the chocolate. We're going to go into those very, very deep shadow areas. And of course, this is the first week of October. So we've got all sorts of Halloween stuff coming up too. So all sorts of different hashtags that are going around, as well as different challenges. And I have been invited to do a challenge, which I will be doing a video for shortly. And of course my hashtag, which is celebrate someone some I don't remember how to. I say it in my head all the time, but I don't actually verbally say the word very often. It's so win. And in my brain, it sounds differently than how the actual pronunciation of it is. So I want to try to make sure I have the actual pronunciation of it, which is Sonwin. So Win, which is the celebration of fall going into winter. It is a Celtic celebration as well as many different religions and cultures. And several different cultures celebrate it with Halloween, with Day of the Dead. All those sorts of things are all under that umbrella. And basically, it's just a celebration of winter or fall going into winter. You know, fall when everything is harvested and the harvest is celebrated and distributed and dealt with preservation, as well as the you know the end of fall when things start going to sleep for the winter and dying off for the winter. And those are all of the different aspects that is celebrated with this Sowin and the Halloween and that sort of thing. So I'm just going in with this chocolate and darkening up the edges of the feathers where there's going to be a bit of a shadow. I'm not going to make the feathers too dark because I want it to have that light yellow tan tone. Some of the feathers on griffins are tan like this, some are white, some have the same markings and everything else that an eagle's feathers have, where they're black and white, all different things like that. I hope you guys are enjoying the hugs as much as I do. I just love doing them. They're just so fun and so uplifting. I, in a time where you just can't go out and hug people, just to color a hug is fun. Of course, this is hug number 45 or 46. Let's see. Where's our hug from yesterday? So 46. Ooh, hug number 46. Yay! We're almost halfway there. Can you believe that we have almost colored half of this book? This will be the very first book that I have ever actually completely finished. When I finish this book, which I am going to do, and even though they are very small pictures, it is the largest book I've ever colored. Most coloring books only have 30, 40 pictures in it. This one has 100 different pictures that I'm going to be coloring. So that's quite a few pictures. Just going through and making sure that I get all the shadowing areas. Hopefully my hand's not in your way too much. Just going to turn it here so I can get into this area up here. Get into behind all of those feathers where they're overlapping. I've watched several other people doing the hugs, and I think that's fantastic. I just absolutely love watching and looking at all the hug pictures and watching other YouTubers do their hugs. For Hug-A-Day September, there was so many of us doing them, and they were just all fantastic. I hope that they continue with me, but if they don't, I can definitely understand it is a lot of work putting out a video every day. So, and some people have more life than I do. Outside life. I try to avoid outside life. However, today I do have to go grocery shopping, which I am dreading. I am not looking forward to it at all. Not even a little bit. Alright, so we're going to take a little bit of the red brown, which is coffee. We're just going to put a little bit in different little areas, especially up here on the base of the wing. Just to even it out a little bit. I'm going to take that dark brown and do his nails. Alright. Then we're going to take the light brown again. And we're just going to put a little bit more pressure on it this time. And we'll put the final coat on. Blending it all together. Don't know why my husband's computer is going bloop bloop. Hate it when weird noises happen and I'm filming because I don't know what they are and I'm not sure if it's important. He's got a print going on right now, so it's an important print, so I'm hoping that the bloop bloop has nothing to do with it. I think he's just got Discord open and because he does sometimes forgets to close it. And people are talking in Discord, so it's going to go bloop bloop every time somebody says something. I'm going to sharpen this. It's got a bit of a dull edge on it now. The one thing I did find with some of these pencils is they're quite pigmented. However, sometimes you get this odd little feeling in it, like there's a piece of pigment that isn't dissolved and it gets a little scratchy, but it's not not cut your paper kind of scratchy. It's weird to explain. But sometimes it happens. Even with an artist grade pencil, it will happen. Especially with greens and browns because they have so much pigment in them. We're going to go up in here, do his ears. Definitely happy looking fellows. We're just going to Continue to darken up that light brown. And like I said, I'm putting a little bit more pressure on it here and blending all of those colors together to get that cohesive look, that blended look. I would not suggest using a blending pencil on this paper. It will pick up the ink and distribute the ink into places you don't want it to be. Again, I know this from experience because that's what it did to me. It made a big old mess. I had to erase a bunch of stuff and redo it on one of my recorded ones. I actually had to completely erase the picture and redo the whole thing from scratch, which was fine because it didn't look so good. Yeah, I didn't want to show you guys how horrible it could look. I wanted to show you how good it could look. I wanted to give you pretty hugs, not, oh my gosh, what did you do, hugs? Alright, so we've got him all covered. All of his feathers are done. All of his limbs are done. Just going to do his beak now. And we're going to start with lemon yellow or maybe canary yellow. Let's see. What do we got here? Maybe orange yellow. Yeah, orange yellow. And then we'll go in with a little bit of sunburst yellow. It's weird. This one's called sunburst yellow and the sunburst or orange yellow and the sunburst yellow is orange. It's very strange. This one should be called sunburst yellow. Alright, so we're going to do his beak here. Again, just doing a light coat first, which is a yellowish tone. And then we're going to go in with the deeper orange color. Okay, so this one here is an actual orange. And we're going to blend that in with the and then we're going to grab a little bit of red. What's this one? Carmine red. Again, we're going to have to sharpen it a little bit. And we're just going to do the tip of his beak area here with that red. Just darkening that up a little bit. And then down here. Going into some of those really dark areas with the red and just darkening them up a little bit. And then we'll draw it out a little bit with the orange. And then a bit more of the yellow. I think we're going to go with a brighter yellow. It's a nice light yellow, but I think I want a little bit brighter on the yellow. There we go. That's a little better. So there is our first Griffith all done. So now the second one, we're going to go in with the dark brown. We're not going to put the red in it so much. And then we're going to go with a lot more of the darker color as well as a bit of a black color. So our secondary light color is the dark brown, and then we're going to use some blacks and grays as well. So just going through and putting in some light color, light dark color, I guess you'd say. Filling in all those cracks and crevices and areas where there's going to be shadow and contrast. Like so. And of course, tomorrow is Tips and Tricks Tuesday, and I have had a request for mist and doing misty things. I know we still have the sunrise, sunset type picture to work on. So what I'm going to try to do is we'll do the reflection of the sun set on the mountains. I guess reflection isn't really the word. The coloration for the mountains with the sunset. And if we have time, which I will make time because I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that because it's just coloring the area in the sunset colors. We'll see how it goes. I say that it should be quick and easy, and then it takes an hour to do. But at some point, either tomorrow or shortly afterwards, I may do two videos tomorrow. One for the rest of the sunset, and the one for the mist, for a Halloween mist or floaty apparitional mist. And depending upon how much time it takes to show you how to color the mountainous area with the sun coming over top of it or going down over top of it. Now, if it was a sunrise, I'd be able to show you how to do the mist in the sunrise. But because it's a sunset, there's not usually a lot of mist or fog that comes with a sunset. It's typically something that happens at sunrise because of the moisture that the night air has put on the grasses and mountains and stuff like that. Because the night air, during foggy times especially, is usually colder than the day air. And the sun warms up that moisture and evaporates it, causing the mist. Aren't you glad you didn't ask? I am quite sure every single one of you knows that, but I spend my day talking to myself, so Well, I'm not really talking to myself. I'm talking to all of you, but if anybody actually walked in my house right now, they'd be thinking, what is she doing? Talking to herself, coloring. What is wrong with her? And that's when I say, it's none of your business, get out of my house. Alright, so we've got his darker, medium darkness areas done. Now we're going to go in with a dark gray. And we're just going to extend off of that medium brown color a little bit. Especially on this one leg that's behind everything. And once I go over it with the light tone again, it will stand out a little bit better as to the purpose of the gray. Alright, so I'm just going to put it up here and then up on his head as well. Make sure I get all those cracks and crevices all shadowed up. So I hope everybody has lots of wonderful plans for the week. Do remember that on the 16th, 15th, 16th, and 17th of this month, we do have a Harry Potter-a-thon that will be going all weekend. So my normal scheduled time will be different. It will be changed. So I will be posting that scheduled time shortly. If I haven't already, I think I may have already. I'll have to look. My brain is not working. But whatever time is scheduled on the post is the time I will be going live instead of my normal time at 10 o'clock in the morning. Alright, now I'm going to take the black and we're going to go in here with some black. And we're going to just darken up, once again, darken up those shadow areas in the deepest part, like we did here with the dark brown. With this, we're going to do it with the black. Because I want them to be different than each other, so they don't just blend into one blob. Once again, just going into the shadow areas where the deepest of the shadows are. And then down on his tail. Okay, and then up here on his claws there. I don't know if you call those paws or what would you call that on a griffin? Once again, just going through and just gradually building that color up. Making sure that all of those areas are getting taken care of. Actually do his beak edge here black. And up here around his sinuses, also going to be black. Okay, now we're going to go down his wings. And we're just going to cover a lot more of his wings because I want them to have that dark tone to them, unlike those ones where they have a lighter tone. Especially when they're overlapping. Like so. Sorry guys, I didn't mean to go quiet. This is concentration. We all do it. You know, you just get so busy looking to where your color is supposed to be and building that color up that you forget that you're supposed to be explaining this to people. Alright, so I think that's close to where I want it to be. Like I said, you can always add more color later. So if you find that it's not deep enough in an area, or that it's not light enough in an area, you can always build that up and use an eraser if you need to. That sort of fun stuff. Okay, just doing the edge of his ear here. Around his eye. There we go. Alright, now we're going to actually just debating. I'm going to take the lighter yellow ochre and I'm just lightly covering him. I'm not going as deep into the ochre that I did on the other one. I'm just shading him so that they look like they are the same but different. Same species, different colors. That happens. Alright. right. So these pencils are doing quite nicely with building that color up and getting that color blended together. I'm not having to use the blender pencil, which is great because this paper does not like blender pencils very much. I'm not peeling the paper off. I'm not having to press too hard to get the color down, which is another bonus, especially with this paper. It's taking light layers as well as heavier layers, which is fantastic. And I'm not getting a huge amount of scratch, which is also really good. Some of the browns have a little bit of scratch in them, but not enough to really get deterred by it. All right. So now we're going to take a little bit of this red. And this is carmine red. I'm just going to extend off of that black a little bit. Now when I'm done with it, it will be an orange. And then I'm going to take that yellow and I'm going to blend into it and drag it into the other color. I'm leaving that black on the tip, using the rest with the orange and yellow there. Okay, so now on the ground here, we're going to take some grays. Because these guys are always up in the rocky areas, mountainous areas, or on the sides of buildings, whichever. So I'm just putting in some grays behind them here in their shadow areas. I'm going to put in a little bit of black. Like so. And then we're going to add some brown. And we put in the gray, which is dark gray. Now we're going to put in a bit of chocolate. And of course we've added some black already. I'm not doing a heavy coat. I am just shading, using the side of the pencil to put down a light layer. Now we're going to take the yellow ochre, I think that's what this is, yeah, the yellow ochre, and do the same thing. And just put in a little bit of that lighter tone on top of everything, blending it together. Alright, so there is our griffins done with the Thornton colored pencils. And they did quite well. They were able to build the color, blend the color, and still produce a very lovely picture. So, in my opinion, they sometimes you just have to work with the pencils. You have to give them a little bit of a nudge to go in the direction you want them to go in. Sometimes you have to adjust, adjust your style, adjust what your pressure, adjust, what you're coloring. If you find that the colors aren't blending together well for you, adjust the color blend. You coloring is one of those wonderful things where you learn constantly, and um, each time you do something wrong, you learn from it. As long as, repetition is the key. As long as you experiment and build and work that information into each of your colors, then you are doing a fantastic job. Even if you don't, and you're just coloring however you want to color, and as long as you're having fun with it and enjoying it, then you're doing it right. That's the best thing, is if you are having fun with it and enjoying it, then you're doing it right. Whether that's going down with a one color and coloring an entire area just one color, or whether that's adding layers and adding the shadows and all those things that are very time consuming, um, but enjoyable to me, then I'm doing it right. As long as you're enjoying what you're doing, either which way, enjoy it. This hug is dedicated to everyone out there that is in need of a hug or a want of a hug, because I want to give you all a hug. So this is hug number 46 out of our 100 hugs. And hopefully my mic hasn't just suddenly stopped working, because that would suck. Ah, there it goes. I don't know why it just suddenly froze up a little bit, so hopefully it actually caught what I said. So this is October 4th, 2021, and this is hug number 46. So, of course, tomorrow is hug number 47, which is our disability hug. It just looks like a couple of sisters hugging. It's wonderful. And we're going to be coloring this one tomorrow. And then the next one is our stilts hug, our wonderful men on stilts. And then we have our family hug there, our sisters and baby hug. And then we have Medusa hug. Interesting. Not quite sure what happened there. It's a very interesting thing. Okay, so we've got this fella here that's sitting there, and then Medusa has, okay. I had to look at that one closely and go, okay, how is that? Okay, I figured it out. So we will be moving on to other hugs again tomorrow. And like I said, we will be doing each and every one of these hugs as we go, one at a time, until all 100 hugs are done. After all 100 hugs are done, I will do an entire video of each of the hugs from 1 to 100. So we will be doing this tomorrow during Tips and Tricks Tuesday. Of course, thank you very much for watching. The Thornton colored pencils that we were displaying today out of my collection, they're a good set. It's 150 different pencils, whether they be regular, drawing, metallic, or watercolor. This is a full mixed media set. So, if you want to try out all the different mixed medias, you could definitely get this set and not need to buy further if you find that you enjoy what's in here. If you don't want a mixed media set and you just want to purchase a set of colored pencils from Thornton, they do have just the colored pencils. You are not, bound to buy the entire mixed media set. If you want to try just the colored pencils, you can definitely buy just the colored pencils, which I think is fantastic. I think that's a great thing that they have put the ability to, so that people aren't feeling like, okay, I just bought this great big huge set of pencils. It's got only half of what I'm going to use. Only half of it is what I'm going to use. The rest of it is not something I'm going to ever use. And then you feel like you've wasted a lot of money to basically buy a pencil case. Because, like I said, they are not inexpensive anymore. This set is about $70 on Amazon at this point, which to me is a little high for what they used to be. So, but I'll put back in their spots. It does come with this case, which is great. It's a wonderful case, well thought out. Um, and like I said, they do have a great selection of mixed media. So we've got our colored pencils here. We've got our metallic pencils here, which are triangular. And then we have our drawing pencils, which are also triangular. Some charcoal pencils. And then, of course, our um, fluorescents. And then we get into these pencils here, which are all watercolor pencils. So it does give you a really good selection of different medias to try. So if you're new to the colored pencils and drawing stuff and that sort of thing, this might be a great set for you, because it does give you a selection of different things to try out. If you're new to water water pencils, watercolor pencils, and you just want to try them, but you also want to try the colored pencils as well. This set may be worth it for you because it is got its whole containment all in one place. So that is the Thornton's colored pencils. I'm going to zoom you out here a little tiny bit. And it comes in this great big huge black case. It's well padded. It has this wonderful bit there. And of course it has a pull tab that is easy to grab hold of. It's got the rubbery Thornton's logo there. Opens all the way up to display your pencils, and that it opens quite flat, so you can definitely easily get to all of the pencils without having to fold things over or anything like that. There's more than enough room here on the ends to push the pencil out without having to fold that edge down. So I personally enjoy this set. Like I said, it was a gift from my husband. I haven't had a lot of experience playing with it, but I have done some watercolor with it, and I have colored some pictures with the set. And the set itself is quite nice, and the watercolors work very, very well. I haven't used the metallics very much, but I don't use a lot of metallic pencils. Um, I think if we come across something in the hugs, I might try the metallics a little bit more. Um, but all in all, a fairly good, decent set of pencils. Tomorrow we will be looking at the watercolor pencils from this. We won't, or not tomorrow, next week, next Monday. On the next Monday Mania, Collection Mania, we'll be looking at the watercolor pencils that are in here as well. And we'll be testing those out on an actual watercolor piece because I don't want to try them in this hug book at all. But we will give those a try so you can see how the entire set works together. Alright guys, thank you all very much for watching. Of course, always remember to like, comment, and subscribe. That is the absolutely perfect way and the best way possible for you to support the channel. We do have a Facebook group, so if you do decide that you want to join us and show us your pictures, you can definitely do that in the Facebook group. Just fill out the application and somebody will get you in as quickly as possible. Um, if you want to financially assist the channel and support the channel, we do have memberships available. So if you want to take a look at those, hit that join button below the video, and it will tell you all about the different membership options. Other than that, guys, I will see you again tomorrow for Tips and Tricks Tuesday. Always remember to relax, color, and stay safe. Until tomorrow, bye bye for now.